are again, Canadian wrench. There's 51 Fargo. I can't leave this thing alone. It is really cool. Anyway, I'll show you what I did. So, I freed this up. And that goes back in there, as you can see. You can see daylight because the bottom is not totally there. There was a set of plugs in there. And cones, a couple of the old style road flares. These things, fill them with kerosene or something like that. Light the wick. There's a glimmer on the road. Anyway, a couple spare belts, a can of starting fluid. Back when they had steel lids instead of plastic. So you know how old that is. Actually, let's see if it's got French on it. Yep. Yeah, I forget when French came in, packaging, but everything has to be both French and English after a certain date, and I forget what that is, 76 maybe. So that makes sense. What else do we got here? We got a wheel. I think that's what that is. And it probably went in that track up there for the door, that closed. I got rid of all that, the websites and everything that were there. Well, here's the years and years of cobwebs and everything coming off. Nice, well, a little bit better anyway. I did a few things to the engine. So we'll pull the dipstick on the engine. I went to pull it. I'm going to give you the fast version here. I went to pull it and it would not come out no matter what. Luckily the tube unscrews. So I was able to unscrew the tube with the dipstick stuck in it, pull it out. I could check the oil that way, but that's pretty time consuming. So hammered around the dipstick anyway, and it was able to free this up. So let's check the oil. And that is the cleanest oil I've ever seen in an old engine. Holy cow. And full too, and not too full. Because too full would mean it got something in it, like water. So that's a good sign. Just enough to start getting it going. And talking about getting it going, it sees solid. So let's have a look on the other side, and we'll talk about what we're going to do with that seized engine. Here we go. So we found the battery, 6-volt battery. You can tell because there's 3 cells on top, 1, 2, 3, and 2 terminals, of course, positive and negative. It's a negative ground. So this one was the live one, hence the extra insulation around the raw steel. And this one will be just the negative. Now, I find water likes to get in here, so I've just been covering over the flathead here. We did do a little searching, found out it is a 251, which is nice. That's the bigger of the 2 6-cylinders. It's supposed to be a 237. According to the VIN. I took the carb off because it was totally seized. So what I did is I took it all apart and soaked it all in carb cleaner overnight. Took it out, blew everything out, cleaned it up, soaked it a bit more, and again blew everything out, went over everything. The only problem piece I had was in here. There's a brass fitting, and it did not want to come out, so I drilled it out. I was able to free up everything here. Everything moves the way it should, which is great. It's a Carter BB carburetor, a 1-barrel. So anyway, if we can free the engine, then we'll throw a kit in it, and we'll get it going. If I can free the engine. So what I did is I removed all the spark plugs, cleaned them all up, and filled each cylinder full of diesel, and we let that sit. So it's been sitting maybe a week now, and I tried to turn the engine, nothing. So we'll maybe have to pull the head, which is not that big of a deal. Just got to remove all these bolts and take that off. And I think the coil's bolted to the head as well right here. So it's really not all that bad. It's not like today's cylinder heads. All right, so that's what we did up here. Measured all these floorboards, all these bottom panels, because I'm just going to lay something in there. But to do it properly, I think I'll get this. It's more of this checker plate. I know not all checker plates are the same. The new stuff is different than the old stuff. I can't remember the exact differences, but it's in the shape of that checker. So anyway, a couple new pieces. I've already measured it out, so I know what I'm looking at. So, back to this side. Just see there. A couple things got to come off that are bolted to the head. So right there, take that bolt out right there, and that's your oil strainer, I guess it would be. So I brought my creeper. Let's go underneath. So I pulled the flywheel cover off, which was right there. There you can see the flywheel, the ring gear. That's what your starter engages with. So a standard transmission, flywheel. And there's the clutch, which was full of mouse nests and everything, but actually it looks fairly new. And I do sort of remember my dad saying that he had to replace the engine. And they put the bigger engine in, was how the story went. But I was told all this when I was 10, so I barely remember now. There's the cover. You can see the mice got in it and put a little hole in it. And this unit here is a power brake unit, which I never knew they had in 1951. So that's sort of interesting. I'll have to do a little research on that. They're talking about the parking brake being on the drive shaft. Here it is here. So what it is this band holds onto this drum, and that's what holds the truck from rolling. And there's your adjustment spring and everything else. And somewhere here, right here, there's a cable. When you pull the parking brake, it pulls this cable, just like today's parking brake. There you go. And that lever will move, and move some stuff up there, and eventually pull this band tight on your drive shaft. That's pretty cool. Exhaust is almost okay, but not really. It only muffles up. And then behind that, you can see that follows along. And there was hangers way back here for the exhaust, where it probably dumped. There's a hanger like way back. Where is it? Right there. And the exhaust probably went way back in the day. But seems I got a little turn down right here by the gas tank, which is always nice and safe. Now, talking about the gas tank, it looks like it's maybe bottomed out once or twice. And you can see the floor, all the boards. Now, what really happened with those is right here where it attaches more over that way and over that way. They've let go from that brace that's right here. But we can do something with that. All I'm going to do is store a bit of stuff in the back for now and see if I can get it to run, because I gotta know. Alright, rear end's nice and free now. It was locked up at one point. As I started pulling it down the driveway, it just seemed to let go, with a little bit of a surprise. But anyway, I survived. Not a big deal anyway. you know, for a 75-year-old vehicle, it's not so bad. So at the back here, I just put a little step there so it's easier to get in because I have it up fairly high. Just open it up. I pulled off, open up both those doors, there we go. I pulled off all this plywood, which actually was plywood, and exposed the outside of the van. And that's pretty cool, because actually you can see it's got some kind of coating on there. I don't know what it is. And there, remember that tear? There it is there. So we can just hammer that out, like I said, and put a little sealer on it. A few critters made their nest, made their homes back in here. You can see there. We'll get rid of that and evict all those guys too. And here's the inside. Remember, we looked at the roof. You can see outside there. It is rough. But like I said, I have a little plan for that. And those floorboards we were talking about, they're pretty rough. But all I'm using, I gotta just store a few things in here. I just want to evict all the unwanted visitors. So we're gonna pull this wood off. I'm not a wood expert, but all this is the laminate, all that. So that nice outer, and all this is plywood. I know you're saying, yeah, so what? But the interesting part is these are actually sheets of one board. Like that's all one sheet. This is like true plywood, and obviously it's from 1949 when it was cut down. This is a 51 van. It was produced in 1950, so they probably started getting their parts in 49. And the plywood would be some of those parts. Anyway, pretty cool. I'm gonna pull the other half off. Okay, get rid of all this plywood. Lots of work anyway. So also there was a plate that went along here that the throttle pedal went to, which was right about here. So there's your clutch and brake, obviously. Big long levers that go to a rod or a pin here, which has grease fittings somewhere, I think around here and underneath. So anyway, we'll do those, but I took that panel off, and here it is here. And the throttle was C-solid, the starter lever, that's what this is. It's C-solid, so I got some WD on that. You can see it goes over to there, and presses on the starter. Flip this over. You can actually see all, it's pretty intricate throttle assembly when you see it all. So let's see if we can balance it here. So it goes like that. There we go, step on the throttle, and it levers on here, pulls that, and goes across the back of the engine. I still haven't figured out why there's a little door here. Hey, there's a hinge right here. And if you know why, like, why is that cruise control? I don't know. Because under there, like, stuff would go out if you drop something. So, not that they had cell phones to drop, but probably a sandwich or something. Anyway, so see what I mean? That hinged part is right above here. So is it something, doesn't really give you access because it only lifts a little bit. So I don't know. If you know, let me know. And there's the thing that the starter pushes right there on that lever and activates your starter. So, like I said, it's seized. I'm gonna let it sit another week or two with that diesel in the cylinders. A little bit of transmission oil in there too. We'll just see what happens. Here you can get a better idea of those doors. You can see that you pull out here and it folds up against the body there. But I think they're the greatest thing ever. Probably not that safe, but anyway. I truly am amazed with these doors. Like, I love them. They are so cool. They are total school bus doors to me, and I believe Wilson made school buses as well. So anyway, they pull out and they ride in that upper thing. Oh, got the bungee on it. Here I am bragging about it. Let's hold that. But it doesn't close all the way, but I think we know why. So anyway, open that up. That's so cool. And it folds up against the body, and it actually sits against the side, right against that dent. And these rubbers hit somewhere around here. Oop, I'm up there. And then there's another one, or was another one on the bottom down there that hit somewhere over there. So when I went to open this door, because it was seized in that frame like you wouldn't believe, I had put oil down these hinges here and down there, and obviously nothing was moving, and I actually had to get a sledgehammer and hit from the inside onto a piece of wood, of course, so I don't bash in the door. And I was able to get it to move a bit. So I kept heating these hinges as much as I could with a torch, and like every one of these I go down slowly and just warm them up. I get them just to the point where they're glowing red, and just keep on going right to the bottom, and then do the other one as well, all the way to the top. It's this big piano hinge. But it took me over somewhere between half an hour and 45 minutes, I guess, but well worth it. It's nice to open up both sides of this thing. And you can see that roof is rough. Holy. Yeah, some holes there. The seam here, wherever that is right there. And then a nice big one there. That whole side's just pulled out. But I have a plan for that. Here we got mirrors. This one is done, it's reflecting. And totally toast. But what's amazing is the arm still moves. And that bungee is just to keep this door closed if it gets windy. Okay, I searched around in the garage. I found the front license plate for it, matching the rear. That's real neat. Another thing I always wondered about was this panel right here. Why on an aluminum van, it's all aluminum down the side, is there a rusty piece of metal? So I tore it off because I was curious. And here's why. So something got pierced into there, maybe the forks of the tractor or something like that, but sure made a mess. See, it grazed it down there. But anyway, we'll hammer that back out and just maybe put a little sealer on it. When they put that on, it seems they just, I don't know, did they put sealer or something? Yeah, some kind of adhesive in here. Anyway, it's gone. So we really didn't do a whole lot today, but I'm not really working on this thing. It's supposed to be, I didn't even know it was coming. Anyway, gonna make a good shed, and we'll see if we can get it to run. And then maybe we'll see if we can get it to stop. And then maybe because we get it to run and stop, we'll see if it drives. But that's it. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe.